Hey everyone, we've got a new nominating contract and match pass players on eFootball. We're going to take a look at all the players that we've got. As always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player and for the summary towards the end. So if there's a particular player you want to hear about, just click the link in the description. It will take you straight to them. We'll start with the Mexican League pack. We've got a bunch of 3, 4 and 5-star players in here. So let's look at who we've got. We've got 4 3-stars. We'll start with Sánchez, the goalie. So we've got a defensive keeper. He's pretty average, to be honest. Keep in mind this is a 3-star card. For a 3-star, he's pretty solid. He's a tall guy, so the jumping doesn't matter too much, although 62 is still pretty low. Yeah, what you're looking for with a 3-star card, you're looking at these cards thinking, can you get away with them alongside 5-star players? If you were playing a game in divisions or in one of the events, would they be all right? I think it would be a bit of a stretch for this guy. I think in the Mexican League Challenge, he'd probably be okay, to be honest. There's no major weakness here. Really, the awareness is the one that you would want to be a bit higher more than any of the rest. But yeah, I think this really is a card where if you're looking at your Mexican League squad for the Mexican League Challenge, he'd be a solid option to pick up for a 3-star contract. But beyond that, he's nothing special, really. He's not a brilliant card. Then Monreal, centre forward. I've got a goal poacher. He's not particularly quick, though. I always prefer my goal poachers to have some pace about them, because goal poachers are going to play off the shoulder of the last defender and try and get behind. If you're lacking in pace, then that can make that play style, strikers with that play style, a little bit less effective in my opinion. The physical contact's okay. It will hit 80 in the game plan with your manager boost. Stamina's okay. He's not brilliant on the ball. Awareness 84 is all right. Finishing 85 is all right. Not brilliant. Passing could be worse. He's a bit of an all-rounder, really. Looking at the skills, got heading, first-time shot. Through passing is a nice one to have. Pinpoint crossing, not sure that's really going to be too helpful with this guy. Yeah, he's just a kind of bit of an all-rounder, really. Average build as well, about 5'11". There's nothing special about him, unfortunately. I think, again, you're basically looking at your Mexican League squad. Mexican League Challenge, if you're lacking strikers, could be a decent option to have. I think a lot of us, to be honest, though, have got better strikers even for the Mexican League Challenge at this point. And outside of the Mexican League Challenge, for things like divisions and other challenges, I don't think you're really going to find much use for this guy. Like I say, the awareness and finishing are decent. Outside of that, is really nothing particularly great about him. So for a 3-star, not particularly exciting, really. Then Aldrete, probably said that wrong. So we got a left back. He's an attacking left back. He's not quick for a fullback. That's the big concern for me. Physical contact's okay for a fullback. Balance could be better. Stamina's not brilliant. Could be worse, though. Defensively, he's okay. The tackling and aggression are going to hit 80 in the game plan boost with a decent enough manager. Down the left, he's kind of okay on the ball. Not brilliant, but okay. His ball control is going to hit 80 with the game plan boost. Low pass, not brilliant, but his crossing is very good. That's the real strength with this guy. 88 for lofted pass, 81 curl. Kicking power 76 isn't brilliant, but the lofted pass is the most important. He's got a bit of curl as well, and he's got pinpoint crossing. So with the game plan boost, a decent enough manager, you're going to have 90 for lofted pass. And with a bit of curl as well and pinpoint crossing, this guy's crossing is going to be fantastic. Really, really good crossing. Interception, probably the most important one for fullback. Sliding tackle's a nice one to have. Captaincy a bonus. The pace really kills him a bit for me. In terms of using this guy outside of the Mexican League Challenge, I don't think you would. I don't think you can really survive with that little pace on a fullback. But in the Mexican League Challenge, you're not always coming up against top-level teams and you know, right-wingers with crazy pace and dribbling and so on. So you might get away with them. I think for a 3-star contract, if you can handle that slight lag of pace in the Mexican League Challenge, especially if you like attacking fullbacks to get forward and put crosses in, it's going to have a great cross on him. So yeah, a bit on the slow side, and he's not brilliant, but for a 3-star with the crossing he's got, he could be a fun one in the Mexican League Challenge. And the last of our 3-stars, we've got Ortíz. So this is a centre-back, and he is small. First thing you've got to look at, he's small. He's 176 centimetres. He's an extra front man as well. Not everyone likes that. He's a lefty. His defensive attributes actually are decent for a 3-star, to be fair. He's got solid defensive attributes for a 3-star centre-back. When you get your game plan boost with a decent enough manager, both his low and lofted pass should hit 70 plus, so that's nice for a centre-back. Pace, 75 is fairly average speed for a centre-back, but 80 acceleration is good, so he should be fairly responsive. Jumping 85 is pretty decent, but remember, 176 centimetres, he's not tall. Physical contact as well, that's a bit lacking for a centre-back, so he's small and he's a bit weak for a centre-back. This is a 3-star card, bear in mind, but even so, you've got to highlight these weaknesses. Balance is alright for a centre-back, stamina's alright. But we look at the skills though. Does he have aerial superiority to make up for his height? No. He's got acrobatic clearance, fighting spirit. Long range shooting is not going to come into the equation for this guy really. Interception though is the important one. So he's got one or two decent skills, but he's lacking in skills, especially with the aerial and physical. He's going to come up short. Again, pardon the pun, I know I always say that. But he's got some solid defensive attributes. He's fairly responsive for a centre-back. He can play left-back on his position chart, but he's technically horrible. You're not going to play this guy as a left-back, I don't think, especially with the lack of speed. But yeah, he should be fairly nippy, decent kind of core defensive attributes there. And he's got interception and one or two other skills. But ultimately, for a short, weak extra front man, it's a bit risky using this guy. If you're desperate for a centre-back in the Mexican League Challenge and this guy's got form, you could use him as long as your opponent's not got tall strikers, I guess, but you've certainly got weaknesses, this guy. So yeah, it could be fun in certain ways, but you're taking a big risk with this guy. So on to the 4 stars now. I'm going to be biased now as a Newcastle fan because Rondón played for Newcastle for a season. He was great for us. He did really well and the fans really liked him. I think for a 4-star, this is a solid card. So this is one of these cards, the centre forward, that's built like a target man. If you look at his attributes, the way they're kind of weighted, but he's actually got the fox in the box play style, and I like that a lot because a target man centre forward would just kind of loiter around and they don't make too much movement. They're not very aggressive with their forward runs. The fox in the box will be more so. Not so much as a goal poacher will be. They won't be playing off the shoulder of the last defender. They'll be making their runs a bit later into the box, but they're a bit more mobile than a target man in terms of their movement. So I like that combination. And with Rondón, you don't have much pace. Like I say, he's a target man. He's a big, powerful guy. But with the strengths he does have, good kicking power there, but physical contact 87. Over on the left, the awareness is 87, finishing 85. Ball control is good at 84. Obviously he's not a dribbler. Tight possession could be better at 75, but it could be worse. The passing is just about okay for a centre forward, to be honest. Heading 84. It would be nice if he had better jumping. You know, for a big tall guy, 189 centimetres, that's about 6'2", 6'3", something like that. It'd be nice if he had better jumping, especially for a guy who's kind of a target man in a way, even if it's not technically his play style. But he has aerial superiority, so he should be pretty strong in the air. Physical contact is important in the air. It does play a big part in winning headers, so keep that in mind. But like I say, he's got aerial superiority, acrobatic finishing, heading. He should be good from crosses, and if you're playing long balls forward as well, he should be able to bring them down. First time shot, the most important one for a centre forward. One touch pass as well, that's nice. So his low pass isn't bad for a centre forward. Could be better obviously, but one touch pass, it does help. So you're feeding the ball into this guy, high or low. If you can bring the ball down, lay a pass off. He looks like he's fairly competent. If you're going to use this guy, like I say, if you use him as a kind of a target man, but he's going to get on the under crosses and he's going to make decent enough runs as a fox in the box with the awareness and finishing. He's obviously not an elite player by any means, but I think for a 4-star contract, if you like big, powerful strikers who are good in the air, you're going to put crosses in, I think he could be pretty effective. I think he could be pretty decent value for a 4-star contract if he suits you. And then we have Gutiérrez. I think this is one of the best 4-star cards we've got this time. So we've got a defensive midfielder. He can play centre mid, defensive mid, centre back. I don't think you can play him as a centre back really. He's not got the defensive attributes quite strong enough to be able to do that. He's not particularly tall either. But as a defensive mid, and I'll also rule out centre mid. Centre midfield, I don't think he's good enough on the ball for centre mid. He's not got through passing. We'll have a look at his skills first actually. He does have good passing, but there's no through passing. He's not great on the ball. So I think defensive mid is what we're looking at. Heading and aerial superiority, nice for a defensive mid. One touch pass, weighted pass, man marking, interception and blocker, sliding tackle as well. He's got a really good selection of skills for a defensive midfielder, really good. So, pace, not brilliant, but defensive midfielder is not too important. Kicking power is going to get 80 with a decent game plan boost. Jumping will be 80 plus likewise. He's got that heading and aerial superiority, remember? So it's nice to have a defensive midfielder who's quite strong in the air. Stamina's okay. You know, he could get a bit tired. As a centre mid, he would. As a defensive mid, especially if you put defensive on him, he should be okay with the stamina, but keep an eye on that because he may well get tired. The defensive attributes, strong. 80 plus on all 4 for a defensive midfielder. That's good. On the ball, he's going to hit 80 in the game plan boost for ball control. Not brilliant with his dribbling or tight possession, but again, if you're playing in defensive mid, that's not too important. You can get away with that. The low pass 83 will be 84, 85 with your game plan boost. So, like I say, with one touch pass and weighted pass, he's got good passing. I think on the whole, with all his attributes, he's kind of good enough technically. Defensively, he's pretty good. Good physical contact there. I think with the selection of skills that he's got, especially for a 4-star contract, I think this guy's really good value as a defensive midfielder. I think he's got everything you need. I think he can do a very good job as a destroyer. And yeah, like I say, as a defensive midfielder, 4-star contract, I think he's pretty good value. And especially with the Mexican League Challenge, there aren't that many particularly good players in some positions. I think this guy's a really good option. So yeah, if you've got 4-star contracts, you fancy a defensive mid, I think this guy's a really good shout. And then we have González. Not so keen on this guy. So first thing I don't like, and this is personal preference, but he's a deep lying forward. I don't like that playing style. Attacking awareness is good at 87, finishing likewise, that's the same at 87, heading 84 as well. He's just shy of 6 foot, so he's kind of average height. He's not particularly quick. Jumping, physical contact, both in the 80s, along with heading, so he should be decent in the air. If we have a quick look at his skills, he doesn't have aerial superiority, although he does have heading, so he should be decent in the air, but not brilliant. Soul control is a nice one to have. First time shot, one touch pass, those are the only real important ones there. First time shot, obviously the most important one for a centre forward. One touch pass is nice, but his passing isn't brilliant. It's a bit kind of 2 or 3 lower than what Rondon's was, so you know, could be worse, but it's not brilliant. And the thing is, this is a deep lying forward. It's a bit more important, the technical attributes of the deep lying forward, because he's going to be dropping deep and getting involved in the build up. He's not great on the ball. His passing is not great. He's not great on the ball. I don't think this guy suits that playing style. He does have some decent attributes physically and aerially, and his awareness and finishing are decent for a striker, but with the lack of pace, not very good balance, not great on the ball, along with that playing style, I don't think it's a great combination. I'm not sure he really suits that playing style. I think that's the problem for me. So if you like a guy in with that playing style as a centre forward, he's going to kind of hang deep and be involved in the build-up, and you don't mind him being poor on the ball, his passing not being great, and not much pace and mobility, maybe it'll suit you, but I don't think that's going to apply to many people. I think for most of us, this guy is just... I think the play style is probably what's going to kill it, unfortunately. He does have those qualities though, so for some of you he might be decent, but I think for most of us he's just not really a great card to pick up. And we have Domínguez. So it's fairly clear what type of player this is. He's right-footed, he plays on the right wing, he's got great pace, and with lofted pass 83 and pinpoint crossing, he's very much an old school right winger. He's going to get up and down the right flank with that great pace he's got, and he's going to put crosses in. That's very much what he's good at. The attacking awareness is decent, very decent at 80 for a winger. Whole player playing style. So at right midfield, he's going to make runs into spaces, not just down the line, but will drift inside at times if the spaces open up there. If you play him as a right-sided forward, he won't have that play style active, but I think his movement will be fairly similar, to be honest. Like I say, good attacking awareness, good at dribbling. That goes well with his pace. Ball control is not brilliant, but it'll at least hit 80 with your game plan boost. Tight possession is not brilliant, so be careful if you slow down and start trying to twist and turn when the defender's putting you under pressure. You will notice that, especially with the fact that he's not got much physical contact and his balance isn't great either. So if you're going to be getting on the ball with this guy, you're going to want to sprint and just use your pace to get away from defenders. Low pass is pretty poor as well. Keep an eye on that. Don't ask too much of him with his passing, but as I mentioned, 83 lofted pass. 78 curl will hit 80 with the decent game plan boost, so he's going to have good crossing with the pinpoint crossing skill. Looking at the other skills he's got, couple of dribbly skills there. Soul control's nice. Outside curler's nice as well, and long range curler. That's interesting. He's got a long range curler and outside curler. So as a right footer playing on the right, if he comes inside, a long range curler, you're going to have to set him up carefully to hit it with the outside of his boot, and he can do that. A long range curler with the outside of the boot. Curl 78, like I say, will hit 80 in the game plan boost. Finishing 75 isn't too bad for a winger, so he could have a nice long range curler with the outside of his boot if you set him up carefully enough. But yeah, as I say, it's clear what this guy's best at. He's a right footer on the right. Give him the ball, he'll bomb up and down the right wing, he'll put decent crosses in for you. So if you like your kind of old school wingers whipping crosses in, I think this guy could be a pretty effective player and good value for a 4-star card. Then we have Reyes, Israel Reyes. So we got a centre-back with 79 for defensive engagement, and I'm just going to home straight in on that, point that out, and then I'm going to point that out as well, 78 for physical contact. So he's lacking with the engagement, he's lacking with physical contact. At 179 centimetres, he's not the tallest centre-back either. It's about 5'10", I think. So, yeah, jumping 82, physical 78. If we look at the skills, he does have aerial superiority. He doesn't have heading, but aerial superiority will at least compensate for the fact he's a bit short and poor in the air. But he's still not going to be great in the air. You're going to notice the fact he's not the tallest and his physical contact's not the best. Interception, man marking, blocker, sliding tackle. He's got some nice skills for a centre-back, to be fair. But I think that height, the lack of physical contact, the lack of defensive engagement. Yes, he's got decent pace for a centre-back. Yes, he's got good awareness and tackling. Stamina's decent for a centre-back as well, but I can't see past the weaknesses, unfortunately. So for the Mexican League Challenge, fair enough, it could be an option, but I don't think it's a brilliant option. And on the whole, as a 4-star card. I don't think this is really great value with the weaknesses he's got, unfortunately. Now we've got 2 5-stars, and they're both midfielders. So start off with Romo. We've got a centre midfielder, orchestrator, can play defensive mid as well. Yeah, he's kind of okay. He's got pretty decent passing. His ball control is pretty good, and his stamina is pretty good. But outside of that, everything's in the 70s. You know, his pace isn't brilliant. His physical contact will hit 80 plus with the game plan boost, so that's a good one. Likewise, defensive engagement, worth pointing that out as well. Balance isn't great. The dribbling, tight possession will hit 80 in the game plan boost. So, yeah, this guy's not bad. He's not bad. I don't think he's a brilliant 5-star, though. Defensively on the whole, he's not brilliant. He's certainly not a dribbler by any means. He's not really got much pace and mobility about him. He's quite physically strong, got good passing and ball control. We look at his skills, though. One-touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, low-lofted pass. So he's going to have very nice passing. Interception is good. Aerial superiority. Yeah, I think as an orchestrator, his attributes and his skills suit that pretty well. He's going to be fairly tidy on the ball, and he's going to have some nice passing as well. But he's just not brilliant. I think the problem with this guy is it's a 5-star, so it's going to cost you a 5-star contract. And I think with the number of 5-star players that are available, I don't think he represents great value. If you've got enough 5-star contracts to use up, you need to use one up, and there's no one else left for you to sign that you really want. I don't think he's bad at all. I think he'd be a solid option for the Mexican League Challenge, but for a 5-star nominating contract, I don't think a solid option for a Mexican League Challenge is really what's going to represent great value for you. So I don't think this is a bad card by any means, but I don't think it's going to represent particularly great value either. And we finish up with another midfielder, 5-star again. And again, it's a centre mid or defensive mid. He's a box-to-box, Rodríguez. And this guy I do like the look of. Defensively, he's weak again. He's not brilliant defensively. You would want a bit more from a box-to-box. His pace, you know, he's a little bit quicker than the last guy, but still not the quickest, kind of slow to average pace. Not the strongest. Physical contact's a bit low and balance isn't brilliant, but stamina's quite good. But when it comes to the technicals down the left, he's going to be very tidy on the ball. He's already 80 plus on all of them, but 90 on ball control especially. And that passing, 89 for low, 88 for lofted. Game plan boost is going to be 90 plus for both his passing attributes. And if we then go to his skills, one-touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, pinpoint crossing, low lofted pass, fighting spirit's a nice bonus, but all these other skills, he's got a great set of skills for his passing. He does lack skills for his defensive work, and his defensive attributes are a bit low. So you are going to need at least one other midfielder behind him doing the defensive work so that he can focus on what he's good at. But what he is good at, he's very good at, and that's getting on the ball and playing some really nice passes. So again, as a box-to-box, you'd like a bit more from him defensively, a bit more strength, but some defensive skills. But with what he's good at, like I say, if you set your team up right and you make sure he's not the midfielder that you're going to rely on to do defensive work, rely on this guy mainly for the technical work, getting on the ball, creating chances. He's got great passing. He could be a very effective one. So again, you're not going to have that many 5-star cards, and there are quite a few 5-star options. He's not necessarily amazing value for a 5-star contract, but I think with the strengths he's got, if he suits you, especially for the Mexican League Challenge, I think this is a pretty solid card. Now onto the Golden Boys pack. So we've got 8 players in here, and we've got a mix of 4 stars and 5 stars. So we'll have a look at who we got. Starting with Daramy. So with Daramy, the way I've trained him here, as you can see, he's not brilliant in some areas. He's got very good pace, he's got decent balance, his dribbling's really good, but beyond that, there's nothing over 80. He's a little bit lacking. So I've tried to maximize what I can with the way I've trained him, and that's finishing, because when you look down at his skills, he's not got through passing or crossing or anything like that. He's very much someone who wants to shoot and score goals rather than create them. He's a super sub, keep that in mind. It's a nice skill to have. But yeah, rising shots, long range shooting, that's really it for end product. Soul control's nice. A bunch of dribbly stuff for the dribblers, and he is a dribbler, this player. Like I say, with the pace and dribbling. If we hit the game plan boost the way I've trained him, as you can see, the ball control gets up to 80, dribbling over 90, speed and acceleration both 90 plus, kicking power up to 80, balance 84 is decent, physical contact 73 is not bad for a winger, and finishing up to 80. So personally, I think this is pretty much how I'd train him to get the most out of him. You're still going to find that tight position is a bit low, and his passing is not brilliant, so don't ask too much from with his passing. Not brilliant at attacking menace either. I did try training for centre forward, but you can't get his awareness and his finishing high enough. So I wouldn't consider him as a striker, but as a prolific winger on the left, cutting onto his right foot, the pace, the dribbling, Train him like this way, you can get his finishing up to 80 with the game plan boost, and he does have long range shooting and rising shots, so could have some nice shots on him. Could be effective as that type of player. If you like a wide forward on the left who cuts in onto his stronger foot, onto his right foot, with the pace and the dribbling, a bit of shooting ability, it could be an effective one. But beyond that, not great passing, a tight possession, bit dubious, attacking awareness could be higher. So I don't think this is a brilliant card, but it's a 4-star, so just depends. If you've got 4-star contracts available, if this player suits you, it could be an effective one for you, but it's not going to be for everyone. And next up, we have Murillo, another 4-star. So Murillo, honestly, he's kind of just okay. He's not brilliant. The engagement only 83. Tackling is all right, 85. Awareness 86. He's kind of all right for a centre back, but not brilliant. The pace is all right. Again, jumping and physical are pretty good. He's about 6 foot tall, so he's not the tallest. So he's not going to be amazing in the air. Physical contact is good though, like I say, but yeah, he's kind of just fairly solid, but not amazing. When we look down the skills, again, he's kind of got the bare minimum. He's got the important stuff. Interception, man marking, block are 3 of the most important ones. Aerial superiority is good, so he should be decent in the air. Not the tallest, but good aerial attributes. Aerial superiority, so he should be decent in the air. Doesn't have heading though, and the heading attribute's not too high. Would be nice if he had acrobatic clearance, maybe sliding tackle, but like I say, he's got the essentials. He's kind of, he's passable. You can get by with him if you hit the game plan boost here. You see he's very aggressive, getting to 90 for aggression and physical contact likewise, so he should be pretty strong in duels. He's not weak defensively, he's not really weak anywhere. He's just kind of okay, he's just kind of solid. So I think Forest fans will be very pleased to pick this card up. For everyone else, if you really need a centre-back, it could be an option. He's certainly a solid one for a 4-star contract, but he's not amazing there by any means. So yeah, decent value for a 4-star contract, but nothing special. Then we have Buonanotte from Brighton. So we've got a fairly tidy attacking midfielder here. He's a creative playmaker, left-footed. He can play as a right winger cutting onto his left foot, but he's not the quickest. I'm not sure that's where he'd be best. He doesn't have pinpoint crossing, doesn't have long-range drive. So I think attacking midfield is where this guy's best. He's got soul control, he's got long-range shooting, he's got through passing, which is a crucial one for an attacking midfielder. Outside curl is nice, bit of dribbly stuff with the dribblers. He's pretty tidy on the ball. He's got very nice dribbling there. If we hit our game plan boost with a decent enough manager, ball control and dribbling both 90 plus. Offensive awareness goes up past 80 as well. Passing is decent. It's not amazing. He's not got amazing passing. You can tweak the way he's trained. I've tried to make him nice on the ball. The passing, like I say, doesn't go too high. Could get it a bit higher if you retrain him. Like I say, it's just the way I've trained him. Pace is reasonable. Certainly acceleration is pretty good. He's not got the best balance. I would like a bit more balance on an attacking midfielder. Stamina's okay, but not brilliant. So yeah, he's a fairly tidy attacking midfielder. But I think like with Murillo, if you're a fan of Brighton, if you like this guy in real life, it'd be a fun card to pick up. It's a good version of him, but otherwise, for a 4-star contract, decent value, but nothing amazing really. Then we have Pablo Torre. So again, we've got a pretty tidy attacking midfielder, and again, it's a creative playmaker, this time right-footed, similar height. To be honest, I think this guy's a little bit better than Buonanotte. I like this guy a bit more. As you can see, he's tidy on the ball again. The passing is not too high again. Offensive awareness is decent. The pace, not quite as quick as Buonanotte, but he's got very good balance though. The tight possession is the one that stands out. It's at 92 before the game plan boost. If we hit that game plan boost, as you can see, on the ball, 90 plus across all 3 of those. Balance 90 as well with a good acceleration. He's going to feel really nice on the ball. He's got quite a low center of gravity. Might not have great pace, but like I say, with the acceleration, the balance, all these 90 plus, he should feel pretty nice on the ball. Attack awareness is good from an attacking midfielder. The passing's all right. It's not brilliant, but it's decent enough. Finishing at 70, just about okay. If we look down here at the skills, through passing is the key one. It would be nice if he had one-touch pass. Neither him nor Buonanotte have got one-touch pass, which is something you're really lacking as an attacking midfielder. Bit of dribbly stuff at the top there. Acrobatic finishing might come in handy. Crossing, don't know if he's going to get into crossing positions, but a nice enough one to have. Outside curler is nice to have. The key one's through passing though. You might want to train him a bit differently to me and make his passing a bit better. You could do that because, as you can see here, I've not put too much in his passing. You could take some away from his dribbling. He is fantastic on the ball. He'd still be good on the ball even if he took a whole bunch of points off there. Stick them all on passing. Yeah, and he gets passing up to 88 with a game plan boost. You can do it how you like. I think either way, for me, Pablo Torre, I think he's a bit better than Buonanotte. I think he's going to feel a little bit nicer on the ball, a bit more responsive, a bit more manoeuvrable. And I think he looks pretty decent. They're both decent options, to be fair, as an attacking midfielder. But if I've got one 4-star contract available and I'm going to pick an attacking midfielder, it's going to be this guy. And then we have the first of our 5 stars. We've got Dani Vivian from Bilbao. And he's pretty solid, to be honest. The one area where I'm a bit concerned with this guy, and we've had this before, it's the physical contact's a bit low. And as a guy who's 6 foot tall, jumping 84, physical contact 80, and as we see down here, there's no aerial superiority. It's in the air, he's going to be a bit lacking. And in physical duels as well, with only 80 physical contact. So physically and aerially, there's a big concern with this guy. He does have heading, but you got to win those headers in the first place, and that's where he's a bit lacking. Interception, man marking, blocker, sliding tackle, good selection of skills for a centre-back. Would be nice if he had acrobatic clearance as well, but he's got some of the most important skills for a centre-back. So like I say, he's pretty solid. He's got some decent attributes. We hit the game plan boost there. As you can see, 3 of the defences go 90 plus. It's only engagement that doesn't, but that's 88. So he's solid defensively. Decent pace for a centre-back. The jumping and physical go up a bit, but like I say, they're still a little bit lacking for me. So I think it's one of those cards. If you support his team, Athletic Bilbao, I think this would be a really good card for you to pick up. You were very pleased with it. But if Bilbao aren't your team and you don't have too many 5-star contracts, remember this is a 5-star player. He's going to cost a 5-star nominating contract. I think physically and aerially, he's just a bit lacking for me. And for that reason, I don't think he represents brilliant value as a 5-star centre-back. But just depends on what you like. If you're not too bothered about the physical and the aerial, he could be a solid one to pick up. It depends what you like. But like I say, I don't think with the physical and aerial issue, that he's quite going to be good enough value for a 5-star contract. Then we have our 5-star goalie, got Carnesecchi. And to be honest, this guy is kind of just all right. He's not brilliant. You look down the core goalie attributes, 84 for awareness is not amazing. I've got 3-star keepers with better awareness than that. Catching and parrying are decent enough. Reflexes 86, fairly decent. Reach 85, he's about 6'3", so he's pretty reachy. He's going to have good coverage of his goal. Jumping 82 is fairly good. I don't know what to make of the jumping attribute with the way that Konami are doing their player of the week and player of the month goalies, to be honest. So I don't pay too much attention to jumping. But yeah, like I say, the core goalkeeper attributes, they're all kind of okay-ish, but not brilliant. If we hit the game plan boost, sure, they will go up by a couple, but he's still not amazing. So I think, again, if you support Atalanta, if he's your boy, then you'll be pleased to pick him up. But if you don't have any real connection to this guy in real life, for a 5-star contract, I don't think he's really that great. There are 5-star players you can pick up with GP that are better than this. So yeah, not bad by any means, but I don't think he's particularly great either. And then we have Darwin Núñez from Liverpool. So this guy's pretty dangerous. I think he could be a pretty effective striker. So you've got good awareness here. Finishing is decent at 85, not amazing. He's got good pace, especially that acceleration is great. He's got a bit of physical contact, a bit of balance. He's got good stamina. He's got high defensive engagement and aggression for a striker as well. Not brilliant on the ball. The technicals aren't brilliant. Bit the game plan boost here. You see the awareness goes to 90, stamina as well. That acceleration, 97. So he's going to be pretty quick, pretty strong. Going to get into good positions. His finishing's decent. You could look to retrain him a little bit. Maybe you want to put a bit more on his finishing. Maybe the technicals. I would like him to be a bit better on the ball. To be honest, I quite like him to have better balance. He's so close to the 80 mark. It'd be nice if we could hit the 80 mark. If we could maybe, I don't know, if we took a couple off his lower body, sneak one more into dexterity, that'd be nice. I would maybe do that personally. Physical and balance, both 80. That's great. That's very nice. You will notice that with the pace and his movement, with his offensive awareness and having physical and balance, both 80, getting into good positions, being able to hold off defenders and take chances. And he could be pretty effective. He's a goal poacher. He's going to play off the shoulder of defenders with the pace and strength he's got, the awareness. Can be very effective. And you look down the skills, heading, long range drive, long range shooting, dipping shot, first time shot. He's going to be great at finishing. He's got a good selection of skills for a striker. He's not going to be too bad in the air. He's just over 6'1", about 6'1.5", I think. Jumping's not brilliant, but physical and balance, got the heading skill. He'll get on the end of some crosses. Yeah, I think he's very much what you'd expect from Darwin Núñez cards. If you like this guy, if you're a Liverpool fan, or if you just like him regardless, yeah, it could be pretty effective for you. So for a 5-star contract, it's not a bad one. Not a bad one at all. And we finish with Camavinga. So I'm going to show you 2 versions of Camavinga, 2 ways you could train him, because as he has recently been able to play left back for Real Madrid, they've had some injury issues over the past year or so. He's played left back a few times, so they've updated him in the game to be able to play left back. This is how I build into players as a midfielder or defensive midfielder, which is primarily where he's supposed to play. He's an orchestrator, so he's not going to be moving up and down too much. He's going to kind of loiter around in these defensive areas as a DMF or around the middle of the park as a CMF. As an orchestrator, when you look at the attributes, he's really pretty solid. He's pretty tidy on the ball, got very nice passing. Defensively, he's pretty solid. The pace is decent enough for a centre midfielder. Physical contact's not too high, it's okay. Balance is decent. Stamina's pretty fair. Looking down at the skills, soul control's nice. Heel check's a useful one. One touch pass, weighted pass, and then down there, interception and sliding tackle to do his defensive work. He's got the skills he needs. You might want to put through passing on him, especially as a centre mid. Maybe you might want to put man marking or blocker on him if you're going to play in defensive mid, but he's got a lot of the important skills. He's got a decent selection of skills down there. And if we hit our game plan boost here, you see ball control is 90, low pass is 90, all the defensive is now 80 plus, speed and acceleration 80 plus as well. This is a really nice, tidy defensive mid or centre mid. I think this is a really solid card, a useful one to pick up. But as I mentioned, I'm going to show you a second build because you can play him as a left back. And as a left back, this is pretty much how I think I would build him. So not amazing pace, but not slow either. He's got kind of reasonable pace for a left back. Physical is okay for a left back. Balance is decent. Stamina is good for a left back. The defensives here, again, that's pretty much what I've done for the centre midfield build. Pretty solid. Down the left, though, nice for a left back. Not many left backs are this good technically with all these down here. When we hit our game plan boost, lovely on the ball for a left back. Good passing. Cross should be decent. He doesn't have pinpoint crossing. If you're going to use him as a left back, you might want to put pinpoint crossing on him, but 81 is decent. All the defensives now 80 plus. That's good for a left back. As you see with the pace, like I say, there are quicker left backs around, but he's certainly not slow by any means. He's got decent pace. That balance gets past 80, stamina 93. I think this is going to be a pretty competent left back, to be honest. And personally, I don't have that many really top level left backs available. That's the one area where I need one or two more options. I'm going to get this guy and train him like this as a left back. He's going to be one of my left backs. Certainly this week he's on A form, so he's going to go into my squad for the unlimited challenge. He's going to be my left back. I think that's a good build. So yeah, whichever way you build this guy, I think personally this is my pick out of all the 5 stars. I think he's the best value. You can make him a midfielder and a very good one, but also as a left back, I think he's a very sound left back. So for me, the best value from all the 5-star contracts, I think this is the best card out of a lot of them. So in summary, from these nominating contract players, I'm not going to recommend any of the 3 stars this time. There are 4 3 stars available, and to be honest, I think they're all about the same level. They're all pretty solid 3-star cards, but there's nothing special about any of them. None of them have got like a secondary position where they can play and that makes them better than they otherwise would be. They're all just solid 3-star cards. So if you've got 3 stars to use, I think honestly it just comes down to what position you really need a player in, for, especially for the Mexican League, because that's where they're all from. So if you think about the Mexican League Challenge, look at what players you got from the Mexican League. If there's a position you're light in, that's the player you want to go for. But I don't think any of them really stand out. They're all just kind of okay-ish 3-star cards, really. But from the 4 stars, I think Gutiérrez is a really very decent option as a defensive midfielder. I think that's a pretty good value card for a 4-star contract. You've got 2 AMFs in that Golden Boys pack. You've got Pablo Torre, who I recommend. I think he's going to feel really nice in the ball. He's got a bit of end product as well. Could do with one-touch passing, as could Buonanotte, who's another AMF option. But I think Pablo Torre is just a little bit better out of the 2. Rondón, if you want a big physical tank up front, who's good from crosses, good in the air, I think Rondón could be a very effective striker for you for a 4-star contract. Domínguez, old school right winger, great pace up and down the right flank, getting crosses in, could be effective for you if you like that kind of winger. And likewise, if you prefer an inverted winger, cutting in on inside onto their stronger foot, Daramy with decent finishing, pace and dribbling, could be an effective one for you. So those are the 5 I personally think are the best out of all the 4 stars this time around. Then out of the 5 stars, I think Rodríguez, if you're okay with the fact he's not strong defensively, I think he could be very effective with his passing. He's got fantastic passing, the attributes and the skills, and he's decent on the ball as well. I think he could be a tidy box-to-box, certainly an offensive-minded one. And then Camavinga, either a really good centre midfielder or defensive midfielder, or I think he could be a very decent left-back as well. That's how I'm going to be training him for myself. And then Núñez, pace, power, awareness, finishing, could be a very effective goal poacher for you. So for me, out of the 5 stars, I think those are the 3 best ones that are available. Now on to the 2 match pass players. We've got another 2 players available, one for the value, one for the premium. As always, I'll show you the maths here. The price of the match pass is 500 for the value, 1,000 for the premium. If it's your first time purchase, it's half price, so you save 250 if it's the first time you bought the value, and likewise you save 500 if you purchase the premium for the first time. The coins included, if you complete all the matches to pick up all the rewards, you'll get 200 coins back from the value, you've got 300 back from the premium. So just factor that in when you're working out how much it costs, because for the value one, if you do get all the rewards, it will actually cost you only 300 unless you get the discount, in which case it'll only cost you 50. And then likewise the premium, it'll only cost you 700 unless you get the discount, in which case it'll only cost you 200. So some maths there for you to chew on, but yeah, 2 players to look at. Mickey van der Ven is our value, and then the premium is João Neves. So let's have a look at these 2 guys. Van der Ven first. We've got a 5-star centre-back from Spurs. Spurs fans no doubt will be very happy to pick this guy up. It's a good version of Van der Ven. Yeah, the first thing that stands out, 90 speed for a centre-back is fantastic. Acceleration not so great at 68. We come down here, we see jumping 67. That's poor. He's 6'4", so he's a tall guy, but he's going to need aerial superiority. Physical contact is good. Balance is pretty dodgy. He is a centre-back. He's a big physical centre-back, so you can't expect that to be high, but still something to keep in mind. Stamina's decent. The core defences here are pretty strong. He's not amazing, but certainly no weaknesses there. We come down to the skills though. Does he have aerial superiority? Yes, he does. So, 6'4", 67 for jumping, aerial superiority. I think ultimately being tall and having aerial superiority, I think that will compensate enough for the jumping being poor. I think he'll be strong in the air. Physical contact, remember, does play a part when you're winning headers. It will make it, it'll make him more effective at winning headers. So the jumping is dodgy, but I think with everything else, on the whole, he'll be okay in the air. Not brilliant, but I think he'll be okay. I don't think he'll be weak in the air. The acceleration, likewise, the speed I think is high enough that you won't notice the acceleration being too low, although the balance isn't great, so I'm not sure how responsive it will be. But looking at the rest of the skills down here, man marking, fighting spirit, blocker, sliding tackle, we've got some good ones, but it would be nice if he had acrobatic clearance, but it'd be even nicer if he had interception. Interception, probably the most important skill for a centre-back, so that's a big miss. If you're going to get this guy and use him regularly, you're going to want to try and get interception on. That's a very important skill that he's missing there. Just click on the game plans to see what he's like in the game plan when you get your boost. As you can see there, a couple of the defenses go over 90, speed goes over 90, acceleration hits 70. Could we get that jump to 70? I reckon we could probably afford to take a couple away from speed, to be honest. If we stick that on aerial, there we go. We can get his jump up to 70, it looks a bit nicer. Physical contact up to 90. That's probably what I'd be doing, to be honest. Yeah, kicking power's a bit low at 65. You might want to be careful with your passing. Make sure you don't underhit any passes when you're playing around in front of your goalkeeper. But yeah, on the whole, I think he's a pretty good centre-back. I don't think he's an amazing one. The defences are pretty solid. On the whole, like I say, with the balance being low, acceleration not being too great, he might not feel too responsive, but once he's got into his stride, he's certainly got fantastic speed. And I think on the whole, he'll be okay in the air. And in physical duels, certainly, 90 physical contact is a big, strong boy. So yeah, a couple of things to keep in mind. Certainly, he needs the interception skill, really, if you want to maximise this guy. But on the whole, it's a pretty solid centre-back card. I think certainly Spurs fans will be very pleased with this one. Then we've got João Neves from Benfica. So I'm going to show you 2 builds on this guy. Firstly here is kind of an all-round build. Basically, I'm going to do 1 build to play him as a DMF and 1 build to play him as a CMF. You can play both those positions in orchestrator. So as a DMF, he'll kind of loiter around in just kind of behind the halfway line, looking to playmate from deep, and then likewise centre mid. He'll do similar, but he'll be a bit higher up the pitch. You won't be moving around too much. Won't be making too many runs behind the defence or anything like that. He's very much a deep line playmaker, but when we look at the attributes, you can see he's very strong technically. On the ball, he's very tidy. His passing's very nice. Defensively, he's pretty strong, pretty solid. On the right-hand side here, his pace is pretty average for a midfielder. He's not the strongest. He's a fairly small guy, 174 centimetres, 71 kilograms. He's not the biggest or strongest. Balance is okay, though. Stamina's okay. For an orchestrator, I think he can get away with that. It's not brilliant stamina, but it could be worse, certainly. And when we look down the skills, double touch for the dribblers, and then 1-touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, outside curler's nice, gamesmanship. That does compensate a bit for the fact he's a bit small and weak. He'll win a few free kicks. Fighting spirit's a nice one. That will help compensate for his stamina not being too high, but certainly he's all about the passing, this guy. He's a playmaker, tidy on the ball, lovely passing. If we hit the game plan boost here, as you can see, we now hit 80 for defensive awareness. So again, as I said at the start, this is how I build him to play DMF. In that position, playing a bit deeper, defensively strong. That 90 defensive engagement is really nice. He's hitting 90 for all these attributes here on the ball and with his passing. That's lovely. Offensive awareness not too high, but he's playing deeper as a DMF, so keep in mind that's the way I built him with this build. The pace, both hitting 80 speed and acceleration, so reasonable pace, not the quickest, but reasonable. And again, the balance and stamina are kind of okay, but not brilliant. So I think on the whole, as a deep line playmaker, this guy's very nice. If you're going to play him as a DMF, I would recommend this kind of build, but I would also recommend maybe trying to get some defensive skills on him if you do plan to use him regularly, because there's nothing defensively really. Interception, man marking, blocker, those kinds of skills, especially interception. I think you probably need those on this guy if you're going to play him as a DMF and you're going to use him regularly. But yeah, that aside, I think with that build can be a very effective DMF with the orchestrated playing style as a kind of deep line playmaker. But if you're going to play him as a CMF, I'll show him the way I would build him for that. So the main difference with this build is I've put a lot more on his dexterity. I've left a bit off his physical contact and a bit off his defensives because you're going to be playing higher up the pitch. So it's not as important, the kind of physicals and defensives. So I'll go straight to the game plan boosted, see how good he can be. And as you can see, he's still getting these 90 plus attributes down here, but his offensive awareness goes over 80 now. Defensively not as strong, but he's still okay. And then on the right here, acceleration hits 90, balance hits 90. So he's going to be lovely, super responsive. He's going to feel very nimble and nice on the ball. Yeah, as a CMF, I think very nice. Again, you could maybe do with 1 or 2 extra skills on the guy. Maybe interception even as a CMF. Because you might be higher up the pitch, but it'll still come in handy in the middle of the park. But yeah, and keep in mind his finishing. However you build him, he's not got great shooting on him. So yeah, there's 1 or 2 skills you might want to put on him, like long range shooting, maybe his pinpoint crossing if he's going to drift out wide, which is probably unlikely. Ultimately, I think he's got a good set of skills as a kind of base to build from. And whether you build him like this to play as a centre midfielder or whether you play him as a defensive midfielder, if you pick this guy up, I think he could be a really nice midfielder. It could feel very nice in the ball, very technically sound. He's going to have some really nice passing on him as well. So yeah, I think that's a good solid card. So I think Van de Ven for the value is pretty decent value. And João Neves, I think if you like the look of him for 1,000 coins, it's a lot of coins, but I think he looks pretty good. So a couple of good cards in the match pass there. So yeah. That's all the players in the nominating contract packs and the match pass. Hopefully you found that useful and I've helped you to decide who to use your contracts on and whether to pick up either of the match passes. If you do pick up any of the players, let me know how you got on with them, how you find them. Thank you for watching as always. I'll see you soon.